Hi and welcome to another Lightroom tutorial video. In this video I'll be looking at recovering underexposed images without blowing out the detail. This is the image that I will be working against to create this image. This is one of a series of videos looking at sharing photo tips and tricks and tutorials on my photographic journey. The problem of underexposed images is becoming more prevalent as people use an LCD screen on the back of their digital cameras rather than a histogram to capture the initial image. So let's now jump into Lightroom and crack on. I'm in the develop module, so let's just open up the basic elements. The first thing I do will change the profile to Adobe Landscape. That is much more my preferred style when doing landscape photography. As you can see, this image is very underexposed, including a little bit of clipping at the bottom end as well. So let's dive in and recover the image. I'm using Lightroom Classic, but this can actually be done in Lightroom as well using the sliders. First things first, let's look at the exposure and the contrast. The way that I prefer to work in Lightroom Classic is to actually use the histogram and drag the histogram. I can see the effect that that is having on the image. So let's increase this quite dramatically. We can see now that some of the detail is starting to come, but I don't want to blow out the highlights completely as well. So now that we've got that, it's probably a little bit too high because we've lost all the detail in the waterfall. So let's just drag that back a little bit. And now let's have a little look at our contrast. I do need to use the slider for this one. So let's increase our contrast just to drag that back down a little bit. And now I'm going to use the histogram to really start to recover the dark areas of this image. So first I'm going to work on the shadows. I'm going to use the histogram and I'm going to drag that. You can see how dynamically the histogram shifts. But what I like about using the histogram is you can see the effect that it has across the whole image. So I've recovered the shadows, we can start to see the detail, but we've still got some clip in there. I'm going to pull the blacks up now. Now we lose the clipping quite low down. So this is a bit more of a personal preference, but I want to recover the detail within these really dark areas as well. So you can see how that has done that for us. I'm now though going to look at the highlights because we can see now that it's really pushed us to the top end. So let's have a little look at those highlights. I'm going to pull that back so that we bring the detail back into the water. This is where the balance really comes in. So we've got the balance across the water. We've now got a little bit of detail within that. And now I'm just going to push the whites up just a little bit, just to really highlight and keep the highlight and the attention on the waterfall itself. But now we can see that it's surrounded not by a dark black surround, but it's actually got the detail within the rocks in the background. Once recovered, there's a couple of tricks just to really improve the overall clarity of the image. The first one is I would do a little bit of a dehaze. I'm going to increase the dehaze. You can see how this pushes our histogram slightly to the left. If I push it all the way over, we get an immense amount of clipping at the bottom end. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to push this up just a little bit. You can see that that is increasing our detail within the water and also increasing the detail within the background rock. So I think that's pretty nice right there. The next tip when recovering so much detail out of the shadows is really to look at the noise reduction. So let's look at the actual detail of the image. What I'll do first, I will just zoom in on these rocks right here. We can see they're pretty sharp, but we could also see there's a little bit of noise crept in. So let's have a little look here. We can bring it right up because that softens our image completely. I use the luminance noise reduction quite a bit. So that's getting rid of the noise about there without softening the image too much. So I think that is about right. So let's bring our image back up. And finally, to finish the image, I will just add a small vignette. So let's open the effects and we'll just open a small, we'll just add a little bit of vignette in just to add a little bit of focus to the waterfall. And there we have our complete image. I hope that you found this video useful on recovering underexposed images. If so, please like, subscribe to support the channel as your support is very much appreciated. And please feel free to check out some of my other videos.